In as Alan Jackson hones in on this issue.
I posed the question. Ms. Lacey's the one that said, I told the truth except for that one question. The natural next step is, well, what were you doing with that one question? A review of the transcript suggests that there were inconsistencies that are incompatible with the answer, I got it all right except for one yes. The transcripts speak for themselves. And then to come back and say, I then got confused. I thought you were asking me about the words on the page, and I have low blood sugar and I get confused in the afternoons. Well, we have a DA's office to run in the afternoons. I mean, I'm not trying to pile on, but the subject was brought up by somebody else, and I'd be remiss if I didn't at least respond to Miss Lacey's suggestion that nothing was amiss in those two transcripts. What was amiss? I don't know, but certainly something was.
Let her respond to that. Go ahead.
Actually, that miscategorizes what happened. My testimony has remained the same. The question, Warren, and this has been misreported, the question was, did Steve Cooley like the union? That was the question. That was the question I corrected. All of the other questions that I answered truthfully. The final analysis you need to know, Warren, is that the ADDA dismissed their federal lawsuit against me, and at a time where they didn't need to, if you know what I mean. It was during the campaign. One of my opponents in the campaign was actually part of that, and they dismissed it. After answering the questions through many depositions, through several lawyers, at the end of the day, they found that my testimony was very accurate, and not all of it was particularly helpful to the administration. I want to talk about, since we're talking about truthfulness, what is your job title, and why are you using gang prosecutor on the ballot statement? Is that true? No, of course not. He was not in the gang unit anymore. He is the assistant head of major crimes, and that's how he's chosen to identify himself to the voters.
The last capital case that I tried was a rich guy who hired 3 gang members to kill his wife. That's called a gang homicide. That's what I did. That I'm not in the unit is of no consequence. I'm not forced to choose or pick. Neither is Miss Lacey forced to choose or pick the job title that the office might arbitrarily give you. You're asked to choose a ballot title that best represents what you've done, the job that you've done in the year prior to choosing the ballot designation. I tried one case the year before I decided to, or actually it was during the time that I decided to run for office and before the ballot designations came out, or we were asked to submit the ballot designations. Gang homicide prosecutor was chosen because the last case I tried, the last time I dedicated myself in a courtroom was in a gang homicide case.
But that's not the law. That's not the law.
What about the
Well,
issue?
Ms. Lacey could have challenged, she could have easily challenged my ballot designation, and yet again, she did nothing.
Well, we want the voters to see, because I think it's a reflection of the ego of a person. Saying that the last case I tried is my job title is not accurate.
Job description.
Job description, it's not accurate.
Let us move.
You are the assistant head. You're the administrator of the major crimes unit. So why aren't you using your accurate title?
So now you're the prosecutor and I'm the administrator. As long as we're clear.
Well, what we're clear on is that you lack understanding.
And after a long night of verbal sparring, the time has come for the candidates' closing statements.
Well, thank you, folks, for joining us. I hope that you've gotten something productive out of the very robust discussion. This has been a lot of fun for me, and I think that this kind of dialogue is absolutely necessary as we move toward the election on November 6th. In summary, I think Ms. Lacey said it best at one point when she was asked she was on a radio talk show on John and Ken shortly after the election, and she was asked the defining moment, the absolute defining moment of the DA's office, the most consequential moment, when that nightmarish moment hits you, what do you do? And without pause and without hesitation, Miss Lacey said, I'd call Alan Jackson. That's indicative of the fact that even she recognizes that when it means the most, when everything's at stake, you want your top prosecutor at the helm of the DA's office. Not an administrator, not a manager or a bureaucrat, but the top prosecutor. I'm an 18-year veteran of the district attorney's office. I've been named prosecutor of the year not once, but twice. I've been named top 100 lawyers in California. I've been recognized for my innovative ideas about how to modernize the district attorney's office, and I've personally educated an enormous percentage of the district attorneys who populate our office currently. Folks, I know how to lead this office from the front and by example. I know how to lead in the most challenging times, times that are going to be facing law enforcement in the next few months and few years. This is the time for someone with a steel spine. This is the time for someone who's not going to shy away from an enormous challenge, which we're going to be facing. I'm Alan Jackson, and I want to be the district attorney for Los Angeles for the next 4 years because the chief prosecutor, or as the chief prosecutor, I will give you my promise. I will see to it that this office and your communities are well served, that they don't just survive, but in fact, that they thrive. Thank you.
I have seen this phenomena over and over again. I was an Alan Jackson when I was a trial prosecutor, and I thought I knew what it took to run this office. And then I hit the fire a decade ago and became a leader in this office and realized that it wasn't just a spokesperson in front of a microphone, that there were tough decisions to be made in the back room, that you needed to figure out how to inspire lawyers like Alan Jackson and keep them following along in the same path, that you needed to figure out how to feed egos and how to inspire those who are underproductive. For the last decade, I have been on the front lines of leading this office. I have helped create tools which have made justice better. I have addressed something that Alan Jackson has not even mentioned, recidivism rates. The crime rates are lower. But what about the recidivism rate? 70% of the people coming out of prison reoffend. Can we really slap ourselves on the back as law enforcement executives and say we've got a success with that? No. We have got to take a step back and look at the big picture. I am endorsed by the Los Angeles Times. I am endorsed by Steve Cooley, by Kamala Harris, by several leaders in this community, by Sheriff Baca. I'm endorsed by labor. I'm endorsed by many leaders in this office who understand. I'm endorsed by the LA County Police Chiefs. And that's because those in leadership positions understand what it takes. They understand that while you may be a good technician on the front lines, it takes a special person to lead an army of people. Now, I'm going to let the quote go that Jackson said. What I said was, if you need a trial lawyer, who do you call? And he knows that. But when you're talking about a leader of the largest local prosecutor's office in the nation, you had better have someone with experience, with a temperament, with a judgment, and without all of the ego to work with some of the other great law enforcement agencies, such as the ones represented by LA cops. I am that leader. And I've gotten here the hard way, not by any special privileges. I've worked my butt off, and I'm ready to work my butt off as your next district attorney. Thank you.
And that's it. You've seen the highlights of an incredible evening of debate. But you as the voter need to do more research to make sure you're informed when you go to the voters booth. As always, make sure you do cast a ballot, as this is a right people have fought for and died for. For everything Newswire LA, catch us on Facebook and Twitter at Newswire LA. I'm Chen Thomas Sanksy saying good night from the Ron Deaton Civic Auditorium in downtown Los Angeles and our Showdown in downtown. Special thanks go to our host, the Los Angeles County Organization of Police and Sheriffs. We'll see you back here for more of our comprehensive political coverage. Good night.
Thank you.